Hey everyone, welcome back to Automation. So sometimes I doubt my own ideas, and today is one of those days where this idea is so whack that I'm not sure that you're gonna like it, but I think I'm gonna do it anyways. We're gonna go ahead and first of all update the Bugo because they've updated the Bugo body, and second of all, create something unique. They've gone ahead and added multiple wheelbases and stuff for this car, which is cool, but I don't know which one to go with, so I'm going to pick the 2.38, I think, and we'll just set it there for now. I may change this in the future. I may end up doing a long wheelbase Bugo slash Yugo, but today, this is where it's going to be. Although, of course, it's a hatchback 3-door. There's nothing else this car can be. It's looking a lot better with just a little bit of love, so I'm going to leave it there because the main event of this video is engines. I've been really loving building engines in this game, so let's make something very unique. For those of you who don't remember my last video, I made a Bugo that has 0 horsepower, and that basically meant nothing. It didn't go anywhere. It had very, very little that it could actually do in BeamNG, which is unfortunate, so today we're changing it up. This is going to be a very powerful car, hopefully. 90 degree V8. Hopefully I can get it to fit. Currently the width is a little bit much, but there are ways to make this kind of happen. So I've gone ahead and cranked this thing up to 6.4 liters because it actually does fit. Front wheel drive, by the way, that might not ever change. It might just be a front wheel drive car. And I am going for a push rod engine, which is not usual for me. Let's also go flat plane crank because why not? I never do that. It's going to be absolutely a ripper because I'm going to be slapping 4 compound turbos on this. Compound turbo Yugo. I was thinking about making a video where I talked about my favorite setup in this game, my favorite sort of engine look, but then I decided that that wouldn't really stand by itself. So we needed to do that with something else. And so putting a huge engine in a small car is kind of where I settled on that. A 6.4 V8 with ridiculously large turbos just sounds like way too much fun. So here's the best way to get that to happen. Also, we can make nitromethane level power, which is just, it's gonna make things even more interesting. Front wheel drive wheel spin to be expected. Here it is. This is the setup. And yes, it is transverse, so it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it will be fine if you're comfortable sitting next to this, because this is going to be in the passenger cabin, this is going to be sticking out the front, and I have no idea where to put that. Naturally, we are making so much torque that the engine explodes instantly, and the crank reliability threshold is basically nil, so that's always a good start. There we go, a little bit of billet heavy instead of the other style there. We could also go forged heavy, get a little bit better on the conrods. That is nicer. And forged heavy pistons as well. And would you look at that, it actually works. The flat plane cranks are just not as strong, so I decided to axe that idea. I'm going to stick it with this because 2,000 horsepower just sounds cool. Although, keep in mind, this is running nitromethane, and 2,000 horsepower is literally nothing for an engine of this size on nitromethane. The turbos, as an example, are tuned way out of the efficiency level, and that's, you have to tune both sets as well. It's very complicated to get these to work, and I will be honest with you, I'm not going to do it justice. My best recommendation is buy the game, do this yourself, and spend 3 hours tuning the turbos. Also, just ignore some of the jag, because there are things that have not been fixed. Keep in mind as well that you could potentially supercharge this. I did not set it up so that I can supercharge it, but you could also add more forced induction. So the crank gives out around 80-100 RPM, so we can't go higher than that, but it's making some ridiculously solid horsepower up high, which is cool to see. It should be more of a low torque engine just because of the size of the bore versus the stroke is just a massive stroke. RPM is not really this thing's strong suit, as you can probably tell. At the end of the day, though, I'm pretty much just looking forward to having one of these cars set up so that it actually functions, and that by itself is going to be big. So turning up the quality, it gets us more power, and being very careful to not risk this torque reliability threshold, because this will be the first thing to go. This is our limiting factor. Just giving it a look here, exhaust mildly restrictive, compressor restrictive on the high side. This is hard to look at because we've got both to contend with, but high side compressor, and could probably get a little more power out of this stuff as well. So 2-inch exhaust is not enough. Turn it up and we just gain power instantly. So I just wanted to see what the engine looked like in the car, and you can kind of tell the rusty exhaust pipes. I need to do some work there, but the turbos are basically taking up the transmission tunnel, which is extremely cool, and the other ones are sticking out of the front end. So I'm gonna have to cut that, and I'll cut this out too, and actually maybe I'll turn off the intake because that's just not gonna work at all there. That is sticking out really far. The first thing that gets hit in an accident is the intercooler. It's just not ideal. But we definitely need better exhaust. We need better everything. This is a V8. It's got dual exhaust. I'm going to redo the design because right now this looks like Ronald McDonald. Okay, as I am on a bit of a limit here in terms of what I can do because the car is going to explode and die. There's a million issues going on as well. I'll fix that in a bit. But first thing that I want to do is try to get the turbos to actually make decent boost. Here, they're not doing great, like efficiency is really low, efficiency 10% on the highs, like we're barely using them essentially, so I gotta do better than that. I want to try to make it cooler. So variable ball bearings here, that might just make the power go crazy again. Yeah, I gotta be careful. 2,500 horsepower nearly. Raising the intercooler to max gives us 2,700 horsepower, again, just insane, crazy stuff. Let's start with the lows. We'll try to get it up into here because right now it's flatlining on boost and that's just not ideal. So make more power down low. Let's give it a shot. So our compressor size is 123 and the inducer size 87, basically 88. Kind of want to get it like here-ish if we can, and that is going to involve essentially trying to build it up. So right now our boost limit is here, and that's why we have a flat line. And I need to do some tuning to get it out of that. Let's increase this size and see what that does. No surge stress, which is crazy, but these turbos are becoming larger and larger every second. I think they're probably too big. And I made so much power that the engine grenaded itself by turning the boost up. So the turbos, despite being ridiculously large and making way too much power, they just blow the engine. So remember when I said I was going to try to make the turbos actually good? Well, here, that's not too bad. I mean, 50% surge stress, not good, but it is at least in the yellow up until it hits the boost peak, so that's not horrendous on the low stage. High stage is just a disaster. That is really, really bad. But the reason for that is I tuned the AR ratio down to 0 because it gives us a lot more low end. If I turn this up to like 50-ish, you can see it just cuts the low end right out of it. And I'm sure that's better on the graph. I mean, marginally better, but putting this all the way down to 0, at least on the other graphs, gives us more bottom end. So ignoring efficiency, ignoring if it actually makes any sense, I see line go up, I get happy. Oh, compression is huge, huge, huge. There's 99 right there, and she's gone. Okay, that's all I can do. This is maximum power for this engine here. Sitting at a fairly cool, barely less than 2,900 horsepower. Crazy, crazy stuff. You like to see it. Out of curiosity, let's hear what this thing sounds like. I don't know if you noticed in there, but it sounded like an old arcade cabinet. Like there was some like weird pinging in there as well, like I'm playing Space Invaders back here. I can assure you that I am not playing Space Invaders, and that was just a very odd audio thing going on with the game. I'm curious to hear what that sounds like in BeamNG, but with this much power and boost mostly, you can pretty much only hear turbos, which is cool. Let's get this thing into the car. This being a Yugo slash Bugo, it's the same thing in my world. It's negative 15 everything. It's basically the junkiest car you can possibly make, and that's sort of the point. Negative 15, it's got leaf springs, it's front wheel drive, all steel, everything. Made entirely out of rust from the factory. But the McDonald's yellow and the rust is not working for this particular speed-focused model, so I think I can do more. Although the massive intercooler out the front is definitely speaking to me. That is very fun, if not weird that it's out so far, but we'll just leave it for now. That is looking like a brand new car now, shiny and clean. Very surprising considering. It's been a while since I did any kind of car design, but I'm not really here for that today, although I do have something planned for that soon. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be building some BMWs perhaps with a full design. Today is wide body day. That is the important thing that's happening today. And now you know what's under the hood of this car. That is a lot of pressure. Contents under pressure for sure. And I've basically just cut an entire hole in the car here to make it fit. I like that a lot. That is totally the kind of thing I would do in real life. And so it's done here too. Now let's make this thing actually work and drive and not have so many ridiculous problems. First thing that I can do on that end is just to make the front tires as big as possible, and the rear tires are blown, so we make those as big as possible too, and then the front tires blow again, so it continues. I'm going to increase the quality of these because it's just not going to happen any other way. I don't think it's going to work at all, but there's really only one way to figure this out. This thing is 1,868 kilos, like what the heck? That is so heavy for such a small car. Okay, there's some more work to be done here. This is not working for me. We need to go a lot lighter than this. Okay, now that I have it sort of sorted out, it's time to actually give it some like top speed. It's basically top gear currently is 58 kilometers an hour. I think we can do better than that. There we go. I finally fixed the issues. Okay, still some problems, but it's not too bad. This can be fixed. Top speed as claimed is about 550, which is crazy. So we'll just leave it right there. 529-ish is ridiculously fast. That's enough for a car like this. That is more than enough. I've gone ahead and changed this to all be plus 15 because it's just not working. I need to also give this 15 and everything here too, because we need the best stuff we can get, including another speed on the manual gearbox with those changes. That'll give it a little bit of a better setup. Rear tires blowing out, which doesn't make that much sense to me. Like this thing is front wheel drive, so that's very awkward. Well, it's not bad actually. Okay, I finally fixed it to the point that it's actually somewhat functional here. We have now got downforce, we've got reasonable brakes. I'm still cutting weight out of things and trying to make it as light as it can be realistically. 1557 is still not good at all for a car this size. That is ridiculously awful, but that's what happens when you make it out of a brick steel. Going race interior just to make it lighter, cutting the seats just to make it lighter, like anything at this point. I'm actually going to give it ABS and traction control. I'm also going to give it electric steering. New top speed is 570. That is ridiculous. So quick. And that's with 660s on the front and the back as well, by the way. Just ridiculously large wheels. I'm going to actually shrink them down a little bit and hope that the car doesn't die in the process. There we go. Hopefully that's still good. It's important to keep in mind a few things. This car is on leaf springs, and the entire body and everything else is also the lowest quality it can possibly be, which is not helping the cause at all. Yeah, there's only so much you can do with a car that has subway seats in it. So let's give some exhaust, and then I think it's pretty much good for BeamNG. This car is gonna rip ridiculously hard, and I am very excited to see what 2,800 horsepower in the Bugo sounds like in BeamNG. Let's go for it. Okay, so the idle on this is choppy. Take a listen. This is what I aspire to whenever I think about building a V8 car. This is exactly what I would do if I had a Yugo myself. Maybe not the compound turbos, but V8 with a ridiculous exhaust like this sitting out the back. That just is, I don't know, it's just perfect. That's what I need. When I look at this, I'm thinking that this might be a little bit longer than the regular Bugo, but we'll check that in a second because we've got some important stuff to do here and nothing can get in the way of it. Let's go. should have probably picked the grid map because this car is so fast. I am... it's going by in a blur right now. That's insanity. Front-wheel drive is insane in BeamNG. You can tell this engine has more in it too. Oh no. Okay. Messing around has come to an end. Let's see what this thing's like versus the one from last week. So this is the car from last week that I made, and as you can see, it has no horsepower and the engine just explodes instantly, which is always good to see. Back over to this one. Let's just start up some of that power for a second here. Oh my goodness, that V8. It sounds so good. Okay, I gotta be ridiculously delicate on the throttle with this car because you hit anything on here and it just rockets backwards and forwards. I'm also realizing there's only one mirror, so somehow I messed that up, but let's back it up. Okay, very slowly go forwards. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty much the same. I think they're very, very close, if anything. The one on this one sticks out at the back, whereas the regular Bugo is flat. But I think that this variant is not too bad, and this may be the real updated version of the Bugo, with a couple of little issues to iron out, like the grill on the back I still gotta fix, but other than that, it's pretty much perfect. It almost looks like a Festiva. I already told you guys about this before, but I've got some plans this year, and you're already hearing one of them, and that is hopefully better audio. I got a new mic stand because my previous one would not hold up my mic anymore. And so this one hopefully will give you a bit better clarity, a little bit closer to my face, hopefully better in general. But I listen to your comments, so thank you for helping me out with that. I've been doing YouTube for 10 years, and audio has never been something I got right. So this is the change. Today is the accumulation of that. Can I get things proper? Also, the brakes in this car are non-functional. That is insane. We need bigger wheels and probably a parachute because there's nothing stopping this thing. Also, I've set some goals for myself, and they're pretty ambitious, I'll admit, this year, and one such goal is to hit 100k subs on this channel. And every time I've called that out, we've gained like 100 or so, 300 one time new people, which is great to see. So thank you to everybody who's subscribing, and let's hit that 100k this year. It's gotta be this year. If nothing, it has to be this year. I've got a ton of cool videos planned, and I'm excited for what's to come. Forgive me if I sound barely alive right now. I have been working on getting my engineering designation stuff ready before my second child is born, because it's just gonna be like not possible when they're around. So I've been working on that stuff. I got something submitted today, and I am dead. Very, very dead. But I'm excited. I just love making these videos, and that's why I'm here Monday night grinding it out. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. Let me know what you think of this car and if you have any ideas for me, and I will see you guys again soon. Also, the engine still works despite that. What the heck? I think next week we're going to take a little bit of an automation break and we're going to jump into BeamNG, and then soon, very soon, I may or may not have some roadcraft stuff for you. That's the newest SnowRunner game that's coming out in May, and I'm pretty hyped for it. I'm actually ridiculously excited for it, so got some stuff coming up for that game hopefully soon. More videos to come. Subscribe if you like this video and if you want to see more like it. Definitely check out my last one if you want to see more Bugo, Yugo stuff, and more automation stuff too. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you again soon. More ridiculously powerful small cars to come. Or maybe something different. Let me know what you want. I want big exhaust like that, my goodness. Maybe the Tibron needs it. Okay. That's enough rambling. Compound turbos.